Welcome back to Digital Rage. I'm Jeff, the producer here at Byer Company. This is the third Byer-Nichols Cybersecurity Brief episode. In the first half of August, we are seeing an uptick in threats, and an overwhelming number of small businesses in the USA are being attacked. This report data is collected and sent to us by Jeremy Nichols, the former director of the Global Threat Intelligence Center. Executive summaries and threat actor bios are provided by cybersecurity expert Jeff Remmett. Lots of data in this one, so let's get going.
Welcome to the deep dive. In the digital world, this battle between defenders and attackers, it's not just constant, is it? It feels like it's always evolving, always accelerating.
It really is a never-ending race, basically. Patching, predicting, trying to stay one step ahead of whatever's next.
Exactly. So today we're doing a crucial deep dive. We're looking at the latest cybersecurity landscape, specifically for the first half of August 2025. Our mission, really, is to cut through the noise of the Byer-Nichols Cybersecurity Threat Brief. We want to pull out the most important insights, maybe some surprising facts, and definitely some actionable knowledge for you, the listener. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, it's been a pretty active couple of weeks. And this brief, it gives a remarkably clear picture of where threats aren't just lurking, but are, actively getting worse.
That's a good way to put it. Actively getting worse. And the thing that really jumps out right from the executive summary, it almost stops you in your tracks, this number. Roughly 84% of all breach victims are small businesses. I mean, you think about small businesses, they're the backbone, right? Like, half of global employment, maybe 44% of U.S. GDP. That number feels, well, pretty bleak.
It absolutely does. And what's particularly worrying about that figure is why it's so high. Small and medium-sized businesses, SMBs, they often lag. They're just not where larger enterprises are with security posture, with capabilities.
You don't have the huge IT teams or the massive budgets.
Exactly. They simply don't have the cash for the really advanced stuff. And here's the kicker. Unlike a big corporation, a major cyber attack, it's far more likely to just shut an SMB down for good.
Wow.
The report is very clear on this. Their survival, it really hinges on taking cyber risks seriously.
Okay, so if small businesses are getting hit the most, where is this happening geographically? Which sectors? Looking at the victim sectors, manufacturing and financial services seem to be leading. Both saw increases. Manufacturing is just over 16.5%. Financial services is really close, like 16.1%. Construction is still up there, around 13.4%, and retail about 11%. Though, interestingly, their share actually dropped a bit.
Yeah, a slight decrease for those two, and for tech as well.
Right. Technology saw it dip too, down to just over 8.2%. And then, geographically, still the U.S. leading by a mile.
Oh, yeah. The USA continues to dominate, almost 57.5% of victim locations, and that's an increase from before.
Increase, okay.
Then you've got the UK, just over 6.2%, Germany around 5.1%. They saw increases too.
Right.
Italy's around 4.3%, Canada about 3.1%, rounding out the top five.
But what does this pattern tell us? Where are cybercriminals really focusing their efforts, and maybe why there?
Well, this pattern, it really does show a kind of strategic calculation, doesn't it? The increases in manufacturing and financial services. It suggests attackers are prioritizing sectors with, really valuable IP, sensitive financial data, maybe critical infrastructure links.
Going for maximum impact.
Exactly. Maximum leverage. Retail dipping slightly. Maybe it's a shift to targets perceived as higher value, or maybe, just maybe, some retailers are getting a bit better at defense. Hard to say for sure. But the overwhelming dominance of the U.S. plus the increases in the U.K. and Germany, it clearly points to a focus on, economically powerful nations.
Makes sense.
It's not random. It's about targeting where the biggest financial leverage is, where the most valuable data resides. Bigger payouts, more disruption.
Okay, so we know where they're hitting. Now, how are they doing it? What's in their toolkit? Especially ransomware, that's always evolving. We've definitely seen some shifts at the top of the ransomware charts. Qilin seems to have really locked down that #1 spot.
Yeah, they have. Now over 20% of attacks. That's up from, about 13% before.
Right. And Akira's moved up too, stronger in the #2 spot, almost 14.2%, up from just under 10%.
Significant jumps for both.
And the rest of the top 5, these are newer names, right? PlayAI at about 7.5%, Shinobi around 6.7%, and Black Nevis at roughly 4.7%.
That's right. New players making a mark.
And Black Nevis. Oh, it's interesting. Also known as trial recovery. The brief mentions it just reappeared after being quiet for months. It was first seen back in September 2024. What's the deal with its return?
Yeah, what's fascinating here is just how dynamic this ransomware world is. Qilin and Akira surging. It shows how effective they are, the resources they must have. And then these new players, Playwise, Sonobi, popping into the top 5 so quickly, it just underscores how fast new variants can take hold. Maybe new techniques, different targeting.
Always something new.
Always. And Black Neva's coming back. That's classic. Threat actors often go dark, you know. They retool, refine their methods, maybe find new vulnerabilities. Then they reemerge, often stronger.
Posing a renewed threat.
Exactly. It's this constant arms race. New tools deployed fast.
And beyond ransomware, the brief flags other malware trends too. Things like 404MD4R, EDR kill shifter, Mucor agent, Plague, Spark Kitty, and the XE backdoor is still around, of course.
Still a factor, yes.
Okay, so we've mapped the battlefield, looked at the weapons. What about the minds behind these attacks? The adversaries. The brief highlights a group called Curly COMrades, an APT, Advanced Persistent Threat Group, apparently linked to the Russian Federation.
That's the assessment, yes. An APT group.
And their name.
Yeah.
It comes from using curl.exe, right, for command and control C2.
Correct. That's how they talk to compromised machines, send instructions, and also for data exfiltration, sneaking data out.
And their target seems specific. Eastern Europe, Moldova, Georgia, places looking towards the EU.
Primarily, yes. That seems to be their focus. Once they're inside a network, they set up these reverse proxy tunnels back to servers they control. Think of them like secret highways for stolen data.
All for espionage, basically.
That appears to be the main goal, yes, espionage. The good news, though, is that Bitdefender's report details their IOC's indicators of compromise and their TTP's tactics, techniques, and procedures.
So defenders can use that to build detection rules.
Precisely. Now, the brief does note, and we should mention this impartially, that these types of groups are often characterized by targeting countries that support Ukraine. That's the reported characteristic.
Understood. Just reporting what's in the brief. And besides Curly COMrades, other trending adversaries mentioned are Linen Typhoon, Shiny Hunters, Storm 2603, and Violet Typhoon.
Yeah.
Quite a list.
A busy landscape for threat hunters.
Definitely. Now, vulnerabilities. This is always crucial. And some old ones just won't go away, will they?
They certainly won't.
3 D-Link vulnerabilities from 2020 and 2022. CVE 2020-25078, 25079, and CVE 2022-40799. Still needing attention.
It's incredible, isn't it? It highlights a huge problem. The attack surface isn't just about new threats. It's these old known weaknesses that people just don't patch, leaving the door wide open.
Easy pickings. But there's also a really urgent new one. High severity, affecting on-premises Microsoft Extreme Server 2019.
Yes, CVE 2025-53786. This one is serious.
Microsoft's strongly recommending applying hot fixes from April 2025, like now, and maybe even isolating vulnerable servers from the internet until they are patched.
Absolutely critical advice. Exchange servers are, well, they're central. Compromise that, and you potentially have the keys to the kingdom, communications-wise. High-value target.
Definitely. And there are also new vulnerabilities mentioned for Fortinet FortiSIEM and Trend Micro Apex 1.
CVE 2025-25256 for FortiSIEM and CVE 2025-54948 for Apex 1. More things to add to the patching list.
So putting all this together, the vulnerabilities, the adversaries. What does this all mean? What's the bottom line for organizations and even individuals just trying to stay secure?
Well, the big takeaway, especially with that Exchange vulnerability, is aggressive patching. Organizations have to prioritize patching critical systems. When things like Exchange get popped, attackers can get deep, pervasive access. It's bad.
Really bad.
And for individuals, it just reinforces the need for constant vigilance, right? Spotting phishing, keeping your own devices updated, because the threats are sophisticated. And the focus on espionage, like with Curly COMrades, it reminds us it's not always just about money. It's data, intelligence, geopolitics. Demands a broader view of defense.
Good point. Now, beyond the core stats and threats, the brief also touches on some big cybersecurity news items making waves recently, like critical zero-day bugs cracking open password vaults from CyberArk and HashiCorp. That sounds really bad for password security.
Extremely concerning. Password managers are supposed to be the secure place.
Right, and Microsoft paying a record $17 million in bounties shows the scale of vulnerability discovery.
And the value placed on finding flaws before the bad guys do.
Then there's this new shade BIOS technique, reportedly beats all AV by hiding in the system's firmware.
Yeah, that's deeply worrying. Malware at the BIOS level is incredibly stealthy, very hard to root out.
And ghost calls abusing Zoom and Teams, making fake calls look real to trick people.
Another example of attackers exploiting the tools we rely on every day. Social engineering, basically.
We're also seeing shiny hunters tactics starting to look like scattered spiders.
Suggests threat actors learn from each other, adapt successful playbooks. The landscape evolves.
SonicWall urging admins to disable SSL VPN due to a critical bug. Another reminder about securing the network edge.
Perimeter security is still absolutely vital, yes.
And on the plus side, maybe, the DOJ seized over $300 million in cybercrime crypto.
A significant win for law enforcement, yeah. Shows they're making progress in tracing illicit funds.
And a hacker extradited to the U.S. for stealing $3.3 million in crypto. Accountability.
Important to see those real-world consequences.
So if we try and connect these news items to the bigger picture, what does this flurry of activity tell us?
I think it really shows the attackers' relentless creativity. You know, they're constantly probing for new ways in, from the deepest system levels like the BIOS with Shade BIOS to manipulating the everyday tools we use like Zoom and Teams with ghost calls.
They're hitting us high and low.
Exactly. It tells us that just defending the perimeter isn't enough anymore. The fight is internal too. Continuous vigilance needed everywhere. The huge bounties shows the growing industry around finding flaws, both ethical hackers and, unfortunately, those selling them on the black market.
Right.
And the law enforcement wins, the seizures, the extraditions. They're crucial reminders that even in the perceived anonymity of cyberspace, there are efforts to bring people to justice. It's not a totally lawless space.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive on the Byer-Nichols brief for early August, let's recap the core insights. First, small businesses are overwhelmingly the primary victims. They desperately need to boost their defenses. It's an existential issue for many.
Absolutely key takeaway.
Second, the ransomware scene is churning. New groups rising fast, old ones like Black Nevus coming back strong. It's incredibly dynamic.
Constant change there.
Third, we have specific, well-funded adversaries like Curly COMrades, potentially state-linked, focused on espionage in critical regions.
A reminder that not all threats are financially motivated.
And finally, patching is paramount. Old vulnerabilities, like those D-Link ones, persist. And new critical flaws, especially in core systems like Microsoft Exchange, demand immediate attention.
Can't stress that enough. Patch, patch, patch.
So understanding these trends, it's not just about the numbers, is it? It's about giving you, the listener, the context you need to navigate this digital world a bit more safely, to be genuinely informed about what's out there.
Knowledge is power in this domain.
It really is. So here's a final thought to maybe mull over. In an environment where these old vulnerabilities can hang around for years, literally years, while brand new, sophisticated threats pop up constantly, what does being truly proactive in cybersecurity even mean anymore? And how do we actually shift from just reacting, constantly putting out fires, to genuinely getting ahead of these evolving dangers?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Moving from reactive to truly proactive. A tough challenge for everyone.
Reach out to us at jbyer.com for comments and questions. Follow us at Byer Company on social media. And if you'd be so kind, please rate and review us in your podcast app.